have a fixed mindset. You might have players in your group that no matter what task you ask them, they go, nah, not me. Dan brought up an example, the kid who always puts his head down. Probably got a strong fixed mindset of whatever I do in life, I'm not very good at it, I can't do it. Don't give me the ball because I'm not very good at dribbling with it. I can't do it. But if we start asking questions of how you can challenge, how you can motivate, then we might start slowly moving them along that ticker to a growth mindset. If you start having that growth mindset, you're always absorbing. You're that sponge who's going, look, I might be able to take stuff on board.
Yeah.
What you don't want to be is in that situation of when someone asks you and they go, how long have you been coaching for? And you say 20 years. Have you been the same for that 20 years? Have you just coached the same thing for 20 years? At under 7s I coach the same thing as I've coached the under 18s now. Or every year you developed that growth mindset. Actually my foundation phase, which is 6 to 11s, might need something different to when they get to 12 to 17 and maybe that adult. They're going to need different ways of motivating. So don't fall into the trap of having that fixed mindset of this is how it's going to be now. All the time you spend with me, this is how we're going to play. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to move on. So just start thinking about the questions you can ask. And I really want you to go on, and if you Google growth mindset, fixed mindset, some more infographics, some key questions. If you take my Archie, I ask him to do some homework and he's normally, I can't do it, throws a paddy. I have to try and ask him the questions of, look, the harder you try, the better you will get it. Making mistakes is okay, you're going to learn from it, which then links into his motivation and how you do that. Okay?
Remember the Harold Dweck TED Talk is there as well, for those of you who like to watch videos.
How do you spell Simon?
DWECK.
What I'd like you to do is, can you go into your home groups, please? That'd be great. That might be some moving. You can go into your home groups. I think it was where you was probably for your first group on day one, was it? Yeah. That'd be great. If you can move there, that'd be brilliant. Thank you.
Are we coming back in seats or take a lot of stuff with us?
No, you're in your home groups now. So
Yeah.
yeah. So if you want to move your stuff with you, you can do.
Some of you might need to move chairs.
Musical chairs. The music's going to go off in a minute.
Communication.
They give tables.
So why we didn't do what we did in day one?
He was just mindset. Yeah, he's just using mindset.
Change isn't a bad thing. Growth mindset. Mistakes are okay. They might not do it again. Strong fixed mindset. I'm going to sit there.
Always in the same place. It makes me feel
I want to bring in some
comfortable.
more information.
I feel comfortable here because the window's there and if there's a fire, I'm out. Cakes there, tea, coffee's there. Okay, thank you. So we're going to have a look at motivation. We're going to have a look at why players are involved in the game, because that's crucial. Because sometimes we make assumptions of why kids play the game or why your players play the game. And demonstrate appropriate behaviours that may promote a player to remain in the game and motivated within your team. So it does overlap with self-esteem. What I'd like you to do is you should have some post-its among the other post-its that haven't been drawn on yet. Be honest. I want you to write on at least one post-it. What do you currently do to motivate your players? What methods do you use at the moment? Be honest. If you use something that you're thinking, you've already started to have a growth mindset and thinking, I'm not going to use that. Just think about what you have been using to motivate your players. We will go for 2 minutes. Sam, if you can do 2 minutes for me. Start having a think, writing on your post-its. What do you currently do? Yeah, one per post-it would be great. I only really need one post-it per person, but if you've got something else to get off your chest, by all means do so. Drill down into that a little bit. If you're going to put, I keep it fun, how do you keep it fun? If you want to do more than one, you can do. If you want to just do the one, it's up to you. If you've got some stuff to get off your chest on that. You're making a cocktail there?
No, it's making it so less mess.
How are we doing, Sam?
Got a minute left.
Oh. You just get me from a different angle.
Well, can you probably get the,
Everyone's getting. Where is your motivation?
it's quite low. Sugar crash.
That's right. Okay, what I'd like you to do is go and talk to 2 other people. Okay? We're going to go for a real short shot first. Go and talk to 2 other people. What have you put? What have they put? Okay, what do they currently use? What do you currently use?
Yeah.
You can't be in your own home group. And you can't sit down. Go. Good work, George. Find someone else. Good work, Dan. Moving around, seeing someone else. The free kick. Okay, if you want to slowly move back to your home group, that'd be great. Thank you for doing that. Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to get you to hold on to them, and then maybe by the end of the workshop you might look at them a bit differently. So does anyone want to share what they currently do? Yes, Dan.
I I've got a team that got put up 2 divisions, and they've had a tough season. We didn't really have a choice in the end. We were put there. And once a month I have a fun session with them, and they pick head tennis, having a match, handball, stupid stuff, foxes and rabbits type thing, getting bibs off each other. Just something where they remember why they're a team, why they're together, that they actually enjoy each other's company. The training sessions in full, and not just it's about going out on a Sunday and winning the match. Our mindset's different to most teams because they're really adult season.
So, what will get them that session and what won't them? Or is it a guarantee?
It's pretty much a guarantee. I have to keep them together. It sounds bad, but we got put up the 2 divisions we didn't want to be, and they've experienced losses every game. And for me, it's a way of making sure that I retain the numbers and that they remember it's not all about going out on a Sunday and winning a game. It's about having an environment that everyone gets on, everyone likes each other, and just keeping them as a unit, really. It does work with them.
Okay, so having that at the end of the month, it's your choice of what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might want to think about the process to achieving that. So what if they know it's going to always happen? What's going to come in between to make sure it happens? So what is their motivation
Normally
around
4 losses.
4 losses. 4 losses. Anyone else want to share? Yes, Dimitri.
Under 16, when I told them December, they was absolutely in the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
9 games, 4 points, -22 goal difference.
Okay.
So to get motivated them, I firstly asked them what they're doing on Sunday, why they're going to play match, and why they came for training. Most of them was at the moment we just come in just to have a fun and some game and socialize with the friends, all that things, and nothing more. And I said, guys, let's try to push a little bit more on the practice, and I promise you, once you get the 3 points, the feeling for winning is going to bring you fun as well, and you never want to again stop again. You want to keep moving, winning, and play better and improve yourself.
So going back to that growth mindset,
Yeah.
look, if you work hard, you might get a reward at the end of it. It's the harder you work. So you was almost instilling the process rather than the outcome.
And it's work. We got 5 points already for 4 games.
Okay. So getting there.
Yeah.
Anyone on that table? I was just going to you, Mark.
Well, yeah. So it's a bit like any part of life, really. If you're enthusiastic, you're positive, you're social, then it tends to help take everyone around you. And if you've got a positive attitude and you're enthusiastic and you show that you care, a bit like at work, taking the guys out of work, taking the team out of work, is really, it builds that social bond. So that if you've got a challenging situation, you know that there's people, you know that just not that, I'll just kick it out to him, he'll hit it back of the net. Sometimes I make a mistake. Having that social bond, that fun element, that the fact that you know each other as people is important.
Good. So developing that social element, I want to come because I'm going to be with my mates. And like you said, it's okay to make mistakes. We're going to learn from as a group. Yeah? Yeah. Who put anything along the lines of man of the match, player of the match, anything like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I do a player of the match. I also do a star of the week at training, which is a different trophy, and that goes to the kid who's worked the hardest at training, does the best listening. So it's not who's done the best skills or anything. It's more about how hard they work and the effort they put into the training session.
Okay. So you've linked that to what you want to develop in a person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want players who are going to listen and work hard, and you will be rewarded. What we've got to start thinking about is what our intrinsic and extrinsic motivators are. Okay, what are our motivators? Is my motivator that I might get that trophy, or is the motivator, my dad told me he's going to give me a £5 if I score today? Because that becomes an extrinsic motivator. Extrinsic motivators are probably the weakest form of motivation. Okay, modern day society, they don't necessarily work. They might work for a short-term buzz. There you go, there's a bonus of working really hard. But then everyone will start to fix on that element. Yeah, who's got a dad whose son's in the team who drives you mad because he's on £5 a goal? And every time he's got an opportunity, he's like,
I think my keeper's even on that.
Yeah, my keeper was. He was on if he scored from a goal kick.
So linking back to your philosophy of including people within the process, that intrinsic and extrinsic motivators are going to be crucial. We're in it together. We're a team. Yeah, but I'm on £5 a goal. That's my motivator. Short-term motivation, that is. Short-term, game by game. And how they judge success. Remember when I think it was the two Steves were looking at how you measure development, how you measure success. So you've got to start thinking about what is your intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. Speaking to a psychologist, his daughter goes to violin lessons, and they have a, I don't know what they would call it, violinist of the week. I don't know what they would have named it, but it was a case of they had a trophy for someone who worked really hard, but it wasn't a physical trophy. It wasn't something physical. They handed it out in front of the parents, but it wasn't physical. It was like, there you go, that's what you've got to take, that's it. Because the motivation shouldn't be about that physical item, that intrinsic item of money or trophy. It should be about what led to that. So it was like you work really hard, you listen. That motivator. That's what it is. That's what they're proud to go home and tell their nan, granddad, mum and dad. We've just installed this belief that they've got to have a trophy to carry around with them. Like a star above their head all the time. So with that in mind, what I'd like you to do is, the home groups, you're in your age groups, aren't you? Is that right? Have you all got similar age groups?
Planning.
Planning.
Home groups is experience.
So if I wanted to get them in the planning groups, is planning group 1 and 2, would they be similar, do you know?
Planning groups should be the age groups they're coaching.
Okay. We'll try and go with we'll try and get you into your age group. So if we go, I think I'm going to install a bit of self-directed here, and if you can get yourself into your planning groups, but try to buddy up with another planning group with similar age groups. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if we go, if I let you sort that out, you go for that, and then I'll set you a task. Okay?
I'm 16. John's 14.
There's Yeah, so I thought so their age groups. Just this next task, I need them to talk about age groups.
How are we doing?
So we're basically just
we need to go down. Sam, Ben, we go. Right, you just keep going on your own. Can you go down and train on that muddy pitch down there as well?
It's called goalkeeper lane.
Where are you going, Daz? Where do you want to go, mate? Martin.
I think we've got the biggest
So you're with your planning groups, you buddy over another planning group?
Sam, which group are you in?
Yeah, this is our planning group.
So 11, 12 more or less.
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
And George, you're with
Martin's with us.
We got there in the end. You might just need to swim around so you can see. Right, you've got 9 sheets on your desk again, or you should have, unless someone's robbed them. 9 sheets of A4 paper. Considering your players and the age groups they're in, what is their motivator for playing the game? Why do your players play football? Okay, so you should have 9 sheets. Once you've done your 9 sheets, try and put them into a ladder of what order you think is. The top of the ladder is the one, yeah, that's the key motivator. The bottom of the 9 is the one you see as the bottom of all the motivators. Yep. Oh, well, you're working as a group to come up with 9. So you know when we've done the diamond 9, you can come up with 9. Okay, off you go. Sure have. If you want to use a bigger pen,
social.
Who's right? Is everyone right then? Yeah. You're right.
We're going to go for 11 minutes.
Personally, I see it as a
Come their routine, come their norm. And if
every
they're not-
game is fun, isn't it?
A lot of their
Because
parents-
everyone can enjoy it. You can enjoy every stroke by like football.
Because the group's quite large, the others can get in but he's trying to make sure that they have. There is paper on the table. Ben, bring your chair with you, mate.
Should we put money?
What? They're getting to the first stage.
If they're young, they got different, like a toy or something.
Fair enough. Give the other network will be 11 and they will. So that's the word.
Strong motivation.
Me personally,
Did we put as a
Dover trade. Finish that 10. Nice. So, I'll be like this tomorrow. If you want to do practice spectrum first, if you want, if it's regular, then
If we can talk about that before we go.
I'm going to stick around for about an hour because training doesn't start till 8. So I'm going to stay here, I'll bike to it on the way, and then stay for about 7:30.
We got 3 more that start.
I was going to make him a football player one day. And my dog is started training football. And I said, still going to be big as you think But she said, no, I'm going to
So you've got 5 minutes to start putting it into order.
One more.
Thank you.
And dreams.
Winning doesn't mean wants to be good, wants to be a pro.
But if you lose
Personal motivation is very
if you win 5 on the trot, the next Sunday you can't wait to get there. You don't need any motivation.
before that.
No,
I'll be here in a minute, guys.
The moment of winning a match,
Exactly, so we are friends. That should be alright for me. The team I've got, they didn't really judge me over this way.
As they get older, especially
Feel free to change it around.
So, this one here, going back to this, are we doing parents, making the parents proud?
No, that's in that one. This one is more the parents' forces.
The thing is,
That ain't the motivation.
Are you done, fellas?
I thought that was more of a it's hard for that. I wouldn't say that's the motivation.
Kind of links in that because
Last 2 minutes.
So therefore,
Minute and a half.
I start talking about going back to football one day. My daughter, that day, I'm not going to
Last minute. It's getting deep. I like it.
can be there, and you have to. In a good way, if you don't have a parent support,
you're going to chuck something out in 2 seconds.
We're waiting for it.
So you can be there, or you can
We've done. Close it up.
Okay, Exactly. Oh,
we had a leg switch.
game changer. What have we done? What have we done? Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that. So some real good discussions. So some real good discussions of what we believe motivates children. And we can have these discussions all day long and start coming up with our own opinions of why kids play. One of the best things the FA did was the FA Youth Development Review, where we looked at child-centred approach of not publishing results, mandatory 7v7, 9v9, 5v5 coming, the progression to 11v11, the ability for leagues to change divisions, like midway through, to make it more based on ability. Probably one of the most significant changes since mini soccer was introduced. That we saw that. People rarely know that it was actually based on the decisions weren't made by adults. They were based on academic findings with children. So the FA conducted research across the whole of the country, including Kent, because I led on a bit in Kent, the Kent research. What are we looking at? 5-6 years ago now? 5 years? I think it was 2013 it was implemented. So we're looking at about 6-7 years it come out. So these are the player respondents, okay? This is what they said across the country. You will see the top one, which is trying my hardest is more important to me than winning. Okay? That might change as they get older. Yeah, let's be fair about that.
What sort of age was it?
So it was youth, foundation and youth development, so them early teens, etc. It does change as they get older, okay? You see the bottom one. No one said it's important for them to win trophies and awards. Now you might be thinking that's crazy, because if I ask my group, that's fine depending on how you schedule that answer. We left them in a room, the kids in a room, at them different age groups, and let them come up with them. Let them have a discussion of what their motivators were. I had an under-9s team come in from Raynham. They walked in and they had their hair slicked back, they had sandals on, and they strutted in with all same polo shirt on and like that. I was like, alright, how you doing? Blah blah blah, I had a chat with them. How's your season going? Yeah, we've only lost one. Scored header at the weekend. I scored a bicycle kick, we're top of the league. We've only lost one game in 3 years. Alright, okay. How did you feel when you lost that game? Devastated. It's the worst moment of the season. I couldn't believe it. So I was absolutely devastated. Okay, how long did that last? Oh, well, I walked to the car and that was it. So like 2 minutes after, this most devastating thing of losing a game had gone from, actually I've moved on, there's more important things in my life, I'm thinking about going to McDonald's. As Simon said, I'm thinking about chicken nuggets. I'm thinking about getting home and getting on FIFA. Thinking about other stuff, life moves on. I asked the question, when do you think about that? When do you think about that defeat? When the old man asked me. When he reminded me the next game, on the way to the next game, that it was unacceptable to lose. Now, is that child-centred approach? Or is that an adult trying to inflict their own views? Adult's driving that. So you look at the other stuff, it's like, I love playing football because it's fun. I love the game. You know, when I was talking about my philosophy is, and it is my philosophy, it doesn't have to be everyone's, it's the person first. The reason I go with that is I don't want in 15, 16 years time, a 25-year-old or however old they're going to be, going, I wish Lee had given me an opportunity. I absolutely loved playing it, but all Lee did was sit me on the bench. Lee only gave me the last 5 minutes, I love that game. No, I'm not too sure. If a 25, 30-year-old comes up to me and goes, you took away my football experience, I would just crumble on the floor and beg for forgiveness. So you've got to understand that, look, what we see as our motivators individually might change, but kids are telling us something different. We've got to listen to them. It's got to be a child-centred approach. The worst phrase ever used in football is non-competitive. I've never seen a non-competitive football match. I've never seen one. Harry and Archie in the garden with goals and a ball. There's no trophy at the end of it. It's not live on TV, but they sure go for it. And I'm not looking at the window going, you better win. So the motivators there is, look, I love the game, I want to be there. I love being with my friends. I love being part of something bigger than me. I like being appreciated. I like that self-esteem buzz it gives me. The socialisation that all comes in to motivate me to get there. If you want to take a picture of that slide, you can do. It's a really good one to share with parents. I'll let you quick take it.
I've done it. Dave.
Done it. About turn, Dave.
Dave, I've done it.
Yeah, mate, I'm stopping because he's taking it.
He's not taking a picture of you, Dave.
I've done it, and I've tagged Robbo in it, so read the bottom one. There's a big argument recently with Robbo about medals and kids.
When they said about the going from the changing rooms out for something to eat afterwards, I thought about him. A couple of weeks ago. So we remember that
Who's that? Does your 18 from?
Yeah.
Passion sport.
Yeah,
So, just thinking about
So
just thinking about that now, and the effect that that might have on our motivation. My club, we spend thousands of pounds for an end of season presentation. Who other clubs do that? Yeah. I'm looking at it going, no kid. The kids aren't telling us.
Can we film this? There's been such a row about this.
Mate.
Yeah, there's such a row about
Isn't
this.
there? Like, I've tried to get away from, like, yeah, we shouldn't really present that many trophies. Let's save some. Pretty sure if we bought the kids a football each.
It's true, isn't it?
But we make this connection that make this decision higher up, above the kids. We now need to include them in that decision making and what motivates them. Is it the same kid that's getting the trophy every year? Well, what's my motivation then? So take that on board and use it, because we might need to change the way we're thinking and the way people are motivated. If you think that foundation phase, they judge themselves on hard work and really take on board what the coach says, because you're like this God that they're sent to every Saturday and Sunday and you have to listen to. And I'm looking at the coach and he's the God, so I listen to him and I'm judging myself on how hard I work. And they might touch on in terms of like seeing what their mates up to and that. It's when they start entering that youth phase, they really start to listen to other people's opinion. Other people's opinion becomes an influence for them. So their peers, definitely. As they go into that teenage years, it's like, you influence me on the way I act, dress, and my motivators change. It does almost go full circle, because 16, 17-year-olds, they start to come back round and see we value your opinion because you've gone away and educated yourself, so I understand that. They're at also the stage where if you're not given the answers that they want, they start going finding it elsewhere, YouTube, Google, start watching clips of people. Or they go, actually my motivator is to go with someone who is growth mindset, who will give me what I need. So just consider the motivators for your kids and where that comes in. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going. Do you want to take that off? Okay, so you will see them grids, yeah? Don't start looking at them, don't you look at them just yet. You know that one? Do you want to go with that one? Don't show us. Do you want to go with that one?
Feeling more confident for Simon
Okay, so one person on the table that hasn't got the sheet. One person, so Maz, you do that, yeah? That hasn't got the sheet. Can you time the little experiment we're going to do? Can you time it for me? So one of you go, yeah, I'm going to be the timer. The name of the game is you have to go from 1 to 100. So you put a cross through that square. So when you found number, don't you look at it yet, John?
Start with 0.
Yeah. Sorry, just start at 0, is it?
0.
0, there you go. Okay, so start at 0, then 1, 2, and all the way up. The people on the table should have seen your little post-it. That's how I want you to support that person.
Show everyone else post.
Show everyone else, not him, everyone else.
We started.
No, then don't you look at it. That's what you're doing.
How long we got?
Yeah, alright.
Turn it over.
Crossed out the numbers starting from
Does everyone know what their task is, the people filling it out? Does everyone know the people who are observing? Yeah?
aware.
How many minutes?
Okay.
We've got time.
Well, it's children complete it. Children complete their task. Who's timing on yours? Ready, steady, go. No, just till it complete.
Negativity is not helping.
George, get in there if you want. George, get in there. Did you see the post-it? Oh, okay.
You can't even see the one you crossed out. You use a better pen.
Look, when David's wrong, that's taking the time.
They're on 15 already.
You're not helping.
Who's going to be the winner?
I didn't even look either.
Nobody knows.
Can we just give up?
Oh no, 2 years comment occupation.
You can do it.
Motivation is
Yeah, he's got to 10. Well done. You've got
Well
to
done.
10. Yeah,
Yeah.
double figures. Double figures.
Well, 6 left.
Oh,
2 minutes up.
2 minutes up already. Who's going to get to it? Who's going to complete it?
no one.
We will. There's no point.
No, never give up. Never
It's not
give
just
up.
random numbers now,
You're always going to get to some point when you have to give up.
You can never get better unless you keep going.
You never have to do this again in your life. What's the point? You may as well just give up now.
Never.
Sometimes
It's a
history
learning.
says you don't have to.
No, it's a learning.
It's the taking part, it's not the winning.
You see someone is ready.
I'm getting there, boys. 19.
He's running out of
He's on the
time.
Where's he got? Cross out. 21.
There's no point.
Oh.
You can't even see the ones you've done anyway, so it's pointless.
I don't like this negativity over here.
Daryl. I see. So if we can get to 30, then make them on.
Can we help him? Can we help him?
6. You know, they're only 22.
It's on 20. You can't find it out more.
22, 23. We're on a roll.
Wow. Is he young lad, isn't he?
Yeah, because
One a year.
Three in a row. Bang, bang, bang.
You're making your eyes go funny, to be fair.
Stay focused down where we're you on game.
Easy telepathy, sorry.
You might get time for a kickabout.
You have to upgrade your rumble.
Have a new point.
Yeah, we've got a winner. Stop your clocks.
This guy's unbelievable.
Okay.
What's the bet?
You got that, lads. Whatever number you got on. Okay, so thinking about that, Ben, what did your group as the feedback? What was the feedback style, or how we was going to work with Dan? What was it? Post it there if you need help.
I can't take the visual, it was just
So instruct Dan how to complete it. Okay, don't worry about it now, John, it's gone. Leave it. Okay. So we was going to look to instruct Dan. Okay, so they did get there, didn't they? They got there first. Dan, how did you feel? How did that make you feel when they were instructing you?
within. It's ridiculous.
George was like Rain Man, he was just like all one
I
step
didn't
ahead.
really have to think too much after that. I was just doing it for me.
Brilliant, didn't have to think. So your self-esteem for achieving that, how do you feel?
I'm still pretty impressed that we did it, but I would have liked to have done it more on my own.
Brilliant. Okay.
So groups.
Okay. Let's go to this group then. Steve, what did you have then?
We had to give him negative feedback.
Yeah, boom. It was like natural over there. It was just like, yeah, let's hammer him. So, John, how did that make you feel?
Shit.
Be honest.
It's one step forward and things are putting you back 6 steps. I'm telling you what you're doing.
Okay, so think about John's motivation. He's like, I kept hearing him every time I come over. He was like, "Yeah, right. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, but you just giving me negative feedback." So thinking about the way that you give feedback in a negative way has a negative impact on what your players may achieve. What about this group?
We had to keep quiet and let them go on.
Okay. How did you find it, man?
I couldn't even grip onto the pen.
Sounds like a rat. Could go in and
all the time.
Okay, so what would you have liked from your group?
A bit more support, really.
Okay, in terms of what? What sort of support?
Yeah. Literally. It's just a bit more communication, like common mass, keep going, mate, doing well.
So some reassurance, yeah?
Yeah.
Some reassurance.
But instead, all I've got was that awkward silence just around the table, whereas they're just focusing. So it's a lot of pressure.
So you wanted some reassurance that you was on the right track?
Yeah.
Okay. What about this group? What did you have?
Praise.
Positive praise.
Positive. God, you are Scrooges with the positive praise.
Yeah.
You did not want to give
You got a song. You got a song.
I've got to say, I kept hearing, yay, 6! Yay, 7!
Okay. So, guys, listen up. So, Darryl, how did that make you feel?
Really good, actually.
Made you feel better, did it?
It was a party when it was 10, 20 or 30. Party over it.
Oh, yeah! Am I right in thinking that at some point you did go, look, can you just be quiet?
Right near the start. But when I was struggling, it was actually helping.
So,
And even though they weren't, I felt like, oh, I've done right though.
done all right.
Yeah.
So praise is good. It's human nature, isn't it, to love a bit of praise. And he got you there. So what did you get to? What number?
33.
It was a bit shit.
Maz?
4.
31. 31.
31.
29, I think.
29. So committed to the cause. Right, okay. So you're going to do it again. So in a couple of seconds when I say go, you can flip it over and have another go. Remember what I just said, Dan, when I said in a couple of seconds you can flip it over? Okay. But you can tell your group what you want from them. How you want
Someone else.
them to do it.
Let's get around and help you.
So what do you, before I say go, what do you want from your group? You tell them what you want.
I want George to do it.
Is it about winning or your development?
Yeah, it's a good one. Good one.
Guys, just hold it out. Just out. Just. It's got to be from your own development. Okay? Your development. You getting better at doing this. You beating your score. Okay? You ready? You ready? Steady. John, you ready? Go.
Go on, my son. Go on, son. Go on, get in there.
Give me clues. Higher and
10, 11 goals.
So like them just learning from their own experience. Yeah.
Go on, mate, go on, don't fall, don't fall.
Do you need help?
Right, 4, 5, 6.
Just for one? Yeah. 6.
Oh, look at that!
Rolling.
I'm not competitive or anything, but I want to win this, boys. 42.
43. 5, 4, 5. 6. 7.
Come on,
Good hits what you want done. How do you
You need help or not? He's asking for help. It's very nice.
Just above that one. Right.
All on the same line.
Like teamwork. Someone needs to back it up.
You done?
That pen was good.
Okay, hold it there, stop there, then, John. Stop there, man. Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. So much better when you work.
No, you don't pretend you did. Okay. So did we improve?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, Dan, how's your self-esteem now and your
Much
motivation?
better.
Much better.
I started off and I said, I'm doing this on my own. And I said, Rain Man, come here. And he just showed me the way.
Max, how did you feel that second time round?
I improved massively.
Did you?
Just sort of lost focus after a negative comment.
Why did you look direct at Sam then?
Because he went, Max, you've got no chance now.
To be fair, was it realistic? Did you have a chance?
Yeah.
No, you lost.
What happened was they heard
You
like
need to
7
leave
games,
it in the
7
car.
games. We're looking for 30, so definitely.
You need to leave it in the car. Whatever's coming from Margate, park it, leave it down there. Okay, so thinking about that then, it's like some of us did go to our default mode. Some of us went to default mode. I'm going to tell John where they are. Are we helping John or are we just telling him the answers?
Oh, we was helping.
I'm sure you went through the 40s and he was like, one. So think about you're going to have to start using that growth mindset. I'm all happy and it's going to be player ownership and we're going to let them get involved. And then we go 1-0 down and then I have to start telling you what to do because you couldn't do it on your own and I need to do it for you. And then the motivation goes, well, in the half-time team talk, you said it was all going to be about us picking the formation and like our decision making was going to be in there, but we've gone 1-0 down and now it's if I don't tell you what to do, we're going to go further behind and we're going to lose this game. So be aware of you going back to your default mode. Add to your toolbox that you've got. So what about affirmation then? How did that come into it? How did saying to Dan, you did well that time, remember what happened last time? Did that affect you?
Yeah.
Under pressure a bit
Yeah.
more now.
You did well, but remember last time you won.
Yeah.
Can you remember what happened last time? I see you struggling. And I think it was Maz says he lost focus and it was like, look, you've been here before. Think about.
I knew I could do it. I knew I could still do it on my own.
So going on your gut instinct rather than George just going.
That still ended up happening. There is something wrong with him though. Did you see it? Honest to God, did you see it? Like,
Yeah, I did see it, yeah. I did see it, that's why me and him go to Las Vegas at the end of the week. Sorry, you're right telling your pilot story? Because you're
It was just, I'm reading a book at the moment about street lamps and shadows, and it's around instinctive decision making and how you get there. And it's knowledge and experience will get you to a place where relying on your gut instinct is better than following procedure. So there was a pilot, some procedural things had gone wrong on the ground, he wasn't fully aware of it. They hadn't put enough fuel in the tank to where they were getting to. Engine 1 cuts out, engine 2 cuts out, going, don't know what's wrong with the instruments. Because a note on one of the instruments said this is faulty, so okay, must be that. But they're stranded now, heavy plane dropping, gravity's taking effect. How are we going to get to an airport? They knew of one, but the fellow who's co-pilot was in the army, in the their equivalent of the RAF, said, I know of another one that used to be used, it's closer, we need to get there. So recall on experience, been there before. The pilot had gliding experience, so he never had any power. So he's had to use a gliding technique to get the plane to where it wanted to go, to steer, turn, and try and lengthen the amount of time it was dropping. So reduce that drop like a stone to can we guide there and get there. Now he got it onto the ground and people did die, but he saved about 60% of the plane because of his knowledge and experience. So it's trying to go where some of you might be in the place where you coach by numbers, time, done this for 8.5 minutes, need to change like I mentioned the other day. It's trying to use feeling, knowledge and experience, but then think about how you develop that in your players. So I'm not going to give you the answer about how you develop that in your players. I want you to start trying to think about, but if I want them to be instinctive decision makers with creativity, what's the environment, what do I need to put in place for that to happen? And compare the methods you've just used to win a number crunching practice. Think 5 years' time, if I did the number crunching practice again, would I have good knowledge and experience to do it better? Would I, as the person who was doing it, have good knowledge and experience to do it better? Okay? Cheers, Luke.
Thanks, Si. So we're going to have a look at different motivators because we've talked about the stick and the carrot, intrinsic, extrinsic motivators. So if we go for 2 buildings, high risers, in London, one of them ones you look at and think, oh my God, how did they build that? Okay, you have them. We've got a plank, so like a scaffolding plank going across. And can you see, guys? Is everyone all right?
Yep.
You're here. Who would walk across that? Who would, just for the hell of it? Yeah? Yeah. Why would you?
I need to get to the other side, mate. I'll be walking across it.
Yeah, okay. But remember, there's nothing. It was just a case of would you walk
I
across
wouldn't do
it?
it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Not with any safety.
But you
valve.
would? Yeah, you just do it. There's a plank, I'll just walk across it. Yeah.
Depending on the circumstances.
Okay. Brilliant. So thinking about your motivator now, what about if I said for £5,000? Anyone would do it for £5,000, walk across that.
How far is it? Might need a social, no.
I know where it's going. So
Say it's 50 foot.
50 foot.
Say it's 50 foot.
Yeah. £5 George Day. You see the length of his arms, that's like 5 steps. No, his legs up. No, £5?
5, no.
10?
You went first, I would.
If you went first, make sure he's alright, Richard. Thanks for motivating me, yeah, Dave.
Is that plank
How
safe?
strong is that plank? Yeah.
£20,000? £20,000.
I think
Mine
if you
is
show-
gone.
I think
George is gone.
if you show the cash, I think most people will.
Okay, but John's going. John's going, nah, he's not going anywhere.
I've got
Okay,
kids.
so take the money out of it. Take the money out of it. This building's on fire.
Life or death, you do it.
Are we going now?
Yeah.
Or are we waiting for the fire to go?
Is the money still there?
No, the money was here, Dan. The money was here.
No, mate, let's go.
I can't get the
You
money out
haven't
of
got,
it.
you ain't
it's
got a
gone.
choice in that.
So
situation.
who still wouldn't go across? Who was still
give
like-
a little bit more time to
No,
fire brigades.
You go across now. So is everyone going across?
Yeah.
Yeah? You sure is everyone still like?
How?
Okay,
what's up?
Is the other one on fire as well?
No.
It's on fire.
No.
That's your certificate.
We've got
Which one you were playing too much
We've got
Cluedo?
a question here. What sort of
What
planning
sort
is
of
it?
cladding's on it?
Cladding, wow. Okay, so what happens if that's you now, and this is your family? And you've got to go get them and bring them back.
I'm off.
You're moving now.
Yeah, I'm
You're,
moving now.
you're going.
I'll chuck the plank on the floor.
They're all insured.
Kids are all right.
Mr.
It just like within 30 seconds, we've learned a lot about this group.
We have.
We should open with this. This should be the opening task, and then just firing people off. So we're thinking now, our motivators have gone, I'm going to do it just because like the adrenaline rush. So actually I'm going to do it for the intrinsic motivation of money. Some of you went, yeah, name your price and I'll be off. And then it comes down to fear and love, which at the end of the day, the majority of motivators come down to that. Your fear and love. That's what motivates humans, is that, look, what is gonna motivate me to do that? So it might be the love of the game. Is everyone alright with that? So now you're questioning everything you do in life, and you're like, Maz has got like a price, you know his price now.
Basically a prostitute.
I don't think at any point that wasn't where I was going.
He's got a price.
So you've got to think now is that if they're drivers, if they're human drivers, is love and fear, and how it changes. There was a really good discussion at lunch going on in this table, and it's like, Sally Ali's going to go for the money. Depends what his motivator is. Depends what his motivator is. Depends what his individual motivator is. And what gets in there. Steven Gerrard, we was talking about Steven Gerrard. Could have gone to Chelsea, couldn't he? Could have gone to Chelsea.
He wanted it.
Did he?
I think the death threats to his family might have.
Yeah. Love and fear. Yeah. Love and fear.
But
He might have wanted to go, but love and fear took better. So all them elements you've got to take on board and consider, like, why are my players here? So what can we control in the moment? What can we actually control? No doubt about it.
Left side? Effort.
Left side, definitely.
we can't control any of it. Players can, we can't. There's nothing I can't make them put more effort in, nothing I say.
Well, there's stuff you can say that might encourage them, but can you remember the words we've been using all the way through, me and Si's, like try and influence? So you might influence this, the effort that goes on, but the other bits that comes from that intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. Am I motivated to get better? Remember when we've been talking about the word lucky or unlucky? Yeah? So what are the motivators? What can we control and can't? That's when we need to start ensuring that we are praising the process, not the result.
What was that thing that Gary Player said? Anyone who knows of the Gary Player quote?
More you practice, the luckier you get.
The more I practice, the luckier I get.
So if we can start shifting our mindset to praising the process. We've been using in our session them social nudges. Maz, that's a good try. It's a good try. We're not focusing on the result, because if it's on the result, it's black or white. It's like you either did it or you didn't. But if we focus on the process, the trying to do something, what might that encourage and motivate that person to do? Try it again. Love how hard you worked in that session. Do you think you can keep it that intensity all the time? Because Simon just said that the harder I work, the luckier I get. What do they mean by lucky? What are they getting really? It's not.
There isn't luck. They're saying there's not luck.
It's not luck, but what does he see luck as?
Effort.
Better results.
Better results, yeah. The luckier I get, I might get 3 points or that whatever that motivator is for them. That individual or that group is. Them goals, yeah.
Plus a tenner off your dad.
Plus a tenner off your dad. If you So we're thinking about start praising the process, not the result. Loved how hard you worked in that session. I love that you made that run to the back post. I know the cross didn't get to you, but if you keep making that run, I think you might have success. So process over result when giving feedback.
How did I use that with Maz?
You said at the end of it that you like the fact that he looked, because at first you had to comment on it, but after you said I love the fact that you looked for that pass, you looked up, you saw it was there and you tried it. It didn't get there, but you tried.
So he recognised and he didn't execute it, but I praised up the recognition. But I didn't assume that what I initially thought was he could have played that then. Because if I did, I might have gave him some different feedback about what the hell was that, man? You could have played that first time. Get off. Because that's what some people can do, can't they?
I see it all the time at under 7s, under 8s. Goalie gets the ball, rolls it to someone who's 2 foot away from him and 2 foot away from the goal line. You assume that that's the worst decision they could make. So Sam's on my team, I'm the goalie, my goal line is there. There you go, Sam. And as a coach, I'm like, what are you doing? Why have you done that? That was obviously a bad decision. You should have kept hold of it. Everyone goes wide and everything's perfect. But what might that 7 or 8 year old have sinned? His teammate in space. I might have sinned. Oh, no one's marking Sam. My coach has told me to pass someone when they're not being marked, so I do that. There you go. I didn't think about the consequences of everything. So it might be a case of, look, I love how you tried to counter-attack early and get the ball to one of your teammates, but you might want to consider next time, like, what might happen. So me and Mark were talking about, the phrase I use all the time is, what would you do if you had your time again? What would you do if you had your time again? If they go like this, what does that mean you need to do? If they go like that. If they go like that, what can you do then?
Show them what they can do.
Maybe show them or start teasing information out of them. So that's the phrase I use all the time. What would you do next time? If you had your time again, what would you do? And generally they come up with the answer. Striker goes through one-on-one, hits the ball straight to goalie. What would you do next time? Probably hit it across them into the bottom far corner. Brilliant. Can you do that for me? Yeah, okay. Not, what was that? Don't do that again. Thinking about how you can praise the process, praise the hard work that they're trying to get across. Okay, we're going to go into, I love moving you around this afternoon because I need to keep you on your toes. We're going to go into our home tables. If we go the blue, I'd like you to look at the first box. Reds, if you can look at this box for me. orange, if you can look at the third one here, and the green can look at the last one. So we've got what things motivate, demotivate your players. What keeps you going when you feel demotivated? List some of the reasons that are helpful to be persistent at a task. And then how might a coach support players to remain committed? We will go till 22. If you want to grab some flip chart paper to make some notes, it's up here.
Going back over there, yeah?
They didn't wash their hands. When they came back from the toilet, they didn't wash their hands.
So we stay together.
Oh, you keep messing everything up. Guys.
Oh shit, you're a dinosaur, a shit. You're a shit. Following the
What's his motivation to move?
You need to like change you into the same.
No shit.
Sign me up for another lift.
So
I'm sure you're going to follow me to my car.
when you feel demotivated.
That's his motivation. So his motivation to follow you to the car because I want to lift home.
Do it.
Sam looks like you.
Remember, not in English class.
So, teammates, doing it, if you feel you want to feel about people around you, someone put them down. Yeah, what keeps you going is really feels you motivated.
What is it?
Sort of pride. Feeling going at top 5, 6.
Another one is not letting you team down.
That moment, I think so well. As soon as Turson makes a comment, my head just went
Teammates.
It's the impact of the teammates and not letting them down. Two things, isn't it?
What session are you doing tonight, son?
It's not me, I'm watching all Mead's doing his mod 3.
Oh, okay.
It's his turn. It's his turn to deliver tonight. Yeah, it's really pretty low though.
So I think there's 2 points there. It's your teammates helping to motivate you, and you not wanting to let your teammates down. Yeah. Yeah. Your point is your teammates helping you motivate. Come on, we can do this. You're better than that. Come on. Teammates motivate you.
every time you argue with
listening to what they want, what they want to change position.
Could be. Could be that if I score, I still want to get 30.
Do you think do any more tasks with them, or have they done enough? We'll talk about, I'll do that. I'll talk about that. Is that going to there's 2 lines you can do? Yeah.
Say they do less than
Like you said the word second.
Always got pride when you get it right.
Good answer.
Just transitioning away from
Where's the watch?
I want to develop into lead.
When he says please emphasise, I realise what it means to go. Yes. That's why I'm trying to help you. Can you please make sure that you come to our table because Mass has something to say. No.
Emphasise.
Think more words.
Emphasise.
There's
some of the reasons it's not the system at times.
No, emphasise.
Oh, emphasise.
That's why it's come from. I
Pre session for training.
want you to ask him to emphasise what he means.
Long-term goal, long-term target.
Mate, John, can you not spell?
I
said emphasise.
But I think that was,
John, can we have McDonald's?
your own personal development goals and focus on so we focus on goals.
Finding the season, I think demotivate somebody.
They'll wear an old
myself the title.
John, can you go at the top which one you had at the top? It keeps you going. When you feel deep.
Some of the reasons it's helpful to persist advertise.
Okay, what I would like you to do is just this group, you're going to come and work on this and add anything to it. This group move along, and this group move along, and this group move along. Just to add to it, take your pen with you and add to it. Anything else you've got to add, what are they missing? So leave your sheet of paper and move on. Oops. Is there anything that you'd add to it?
You wrote it, they ridiculed it. Really? Around which one?
I'm just describing it. I'm just describing
The bottom one.
I say something I have no idea who it was. I think it's so confidence with emphasis.
Yeah, just love and football really. Just love the game.
So what's this one then? Number 4, so it's
Some of the reasons it's helpful.
You cheat.
The reasons it's helpful.
Ask them, they're only there.
Number 4. Dave, is there anything there that stands out?
Yeah, the misspelling.
That wasn't that word, there's quite a few.
Vicarious?
I will persist at the task.
I will emphasise how you're doing it. That's what you need to emphasise.
Yeah, that was really.
Okay, one more move on please, so move to the next table in order. Add anything that you want to.
How might a coach support players to remain committed? How might a coach support players to remain committed?
responsibilities as well. Yes, it can't work.
Yeah. When I got there, I was like, I don't know. I said the bigger picture as well. Maybe because you might be losing in the game, maybe your goal for the season is to, well, you know you're one of the better teams in the league, so you might be thinking, okay, this is just a temporary.
Maybe to see improvement as well, so you want to see yourself improved and
Okay, if you want to return to your table for me, anything that's been added, let's have a review of it.
I took it home because I wanted to remind myself.
Okay, so I'm just going to wrap it up in here before we take it out onto the pitch. Just a few little bits. The two Steves, when we was looking at how players learn, you had how to regulate. Is that right? How you was measuring player success? Was that it? So against the four corners.
Yeah.
So against the four corners, it was where areas of how you're going to measure and profile. Wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so you were profiling your players and then finding areas that they get better at. Okay. How do you think you can get players to buy into goal setting? What is the number one thing you can do? I know we touched on it this morning, but who can set them goals? Them. Athletes are more likely to buy into their goals if they set them. Now, depending what age group you're working with, you might have to regulate that. Okay? In terms of if you're working with under sevens, then it might be a little bit challenging because they might be unrealistic view of what they can kind of achieve, and you might need to guide them. One thing I did with my sevens is they done top trumps. So I gave them a list of attributes, so heading, left foot, right foot, anything like that, and got them to rate themselves. And then I produced them a little top trump, and that was theirs to keep of where they saw they were. And on the back, I linked tasks to the areas that they perceived that there was their lowest. That's how we did it, just to inspire them. I never regulated it, I never checked up. It was just about them being motivated against it. I did have players in the team that, so it was out of 100. So when Archie asked me, well, what is 100? I said that'd probably be Messi. What do you reckon he rated himself at?
98.
100. So that's where you might need to regulate it. Okay, just say that. Actually, I think you could work a little bit on that, so you might want to knock your score down. I had other kids in the group. I had one kid in the group that wouldn't do the task because he wanted to rate himself as 0 for everything. If you read up on that and psychologically, that would be linked to stuff that's going far and beyond our management. It would link to stuff that's going on outside of football, home in terms of motivation and stuff like that. So depending on the players and how well you know, you might need to how you regulate it. But if you can get an athlete-centred approach to goal setting, then they will buy into it, and then they will see their own development. In terms of open questions, closed questions, everything that we talked about, try to, what could you do better, what would you do next time, all come back to motivation. Looking at the ABCs, autonomy, belonging, competency, I want to talk about the top one really. The best companies in the world at the moment are thriving with autonomy. So So autonomy is freedom, okay? Freedom to get on with your job without me standing over the top of you, telling you what to do, and telling you off when you don't form in line, conform with company policy. Best companies at it at the moment? Google, Microsoft. Not doing too bad, are they? FedEx. So they have a day, a month, where employees can work on anything they want. They can work on any idea or project that they want. The only underlining aspect of that is it has to contribute to the development of the company. So one day a month you can work on something that you're really passionate about. What output do you think that has for that company?
Really positive.
In terms of what though?
Creativity.
Creativity, productivity, morale. What about output?
Yeah.
If they're coming up with ideas to improve the company, you're probably getting a load of good ideas to help. Google have, they did have shoot for the moon days. Okay, it was a case of whatever idea you had, like no matter how far-fetched it was, they would have groups and days where you tried to come up with solutions to achieve that. They now want you to shoot beyond the moon. That's where they are. That's their motivation. So all these wonderful things that Google are coming up with, they're coming out of these little groups where they're asking people. Who's seen, is it internship? Yeah. Have you seen that where they work at Google? And you see all the wonderful things when they're going down the slide to get to work, or they're in their slick pods and stuff like that. And it's about providing their staff with autonomy. Like, I trust you to do this. This is the time frame. This is the budget. You go and achieve it. And this is what I would like to see out of it. Cool. So autonomy is working. There's lots of really good TED Talks about autonomy and how you can get people to buy in and what success. Coming back to stick and carrot. Stick and carrot only works for so long. Okay? Bashing people, telling them how to do stuff. Or going, look at this bonus if you achieve the target. Only works for so long. It's the autonomy, it's the belonging. I'm part of this organisation. I'm contributing to the development of this organisation. Reason Kent FA is one of the leading county FAs in the country. The CEO lets us get on with it. Write your plan. These are your targets. How you get there is up to you. I might set a barrier or something along the way, but go and achieve something. Okay? So we could delve deeper, but I think I've given you enough to think about around motivation. Does everyone have a better understanding around what is motivates young people, players? Around the current environment that you can create and how your environment motivates or can demotivate your players? Anyone got anything to add to that at all? Like we said all along, if you want to drag us on something, you can have a conversation away from the group. By all means do.
Can the team motivate us as well?
Yeah, I think so. So when we're talking about team targets, i.e. I want us to win the league, who's setting that? Is it a case of the players might turn around to you and go, this is where we want to be. We want to be winning the league. What age group do you go with?
Under 12s.
Under 12s. They might be getting to that age of going, we want to be here. Can you help us? And that might be your motivation around it.
The reason I'm asking because we give them a drill and they find it too easy, but if you move that drill to another team that's too hard, then you give them a harder drill, they still want to do it, even they're not getting it, they just want to try again. Can we ever go again?
Yeah.
So it's like, sometimes I feel like, well, yeah, I'm okay. Then they push me to give them better drill.
So if you think, yeah, so we want more.
Yeah.
You're our driver.
Yeah.
Come on, keep going. We want you to get better, so it makes us better. Competency, feeling capable and noticing different. For me, that's a huge motivator for us, isn't it? If you see a new kid start and he's never kicked the ball before, and then in 6 months' time you're like, wow, I want to keep doing this. What are your motivators to be? Is everyone in here volunteering? Or like doing some sort of volunteering? Yeah? Like what are your motivators to do that? So think about, consider why you're doing it. Definitely, players can be your motivators.